Hey, welcome to Tabletop Skirmish Games. I'm Lee, and in this video we'll be taking a look at the new rules for the CORVUS Cabal for Warcry 2.0. This week we saw the free rules released for the Agents of Chaos, so in this video we're going to dive in and take a look at the CORVUS Cabal, have a look at their abilities, all the fighter cards one at a time, and compare them to the old abilities and fighter cards and see exactly what's changed for this new edition of Warcry. The CORVUS Cabal are my favourite warband for Warcry, so I had to choose them as the first deep dive video for the new Warcry 2.0. So let's get started and have a look at the abilities first, and we'll do a comparison between the new ones on the left and the old ones on the right. We'll have a look at the reaction later on, but let's look at the first ability, which is a double called Raven Dart. Now there is a difference here. The new one has changed quite a bit, whereas before it used to be 8 inches, that stayed the same, but now instead of it being on a 3 to 5 allocated damage point, it's on a 2 to 4, so you've got more of a chance of actually doing some damage now. But now on a 5 plus, you can allocate a number of damage points to the fighter that are equal to the value of the ability. So before that was a 6, but now it's a 5 plus. So not only do we have more of a chance of actually causing some damage, we've got a better chance of doing some serious damage if the value of the ability is high. I'm really happy with this one. As a double, it's great, and because it's only got the CORVUS Cabal rune mark, that means all the fighters with that rune mark can use the ability too, so you can really get some damage going off now from distance. So I think this is a really great update, and I'm really happy that they changed the Raven Dart ability. The next ability is Swift Climb, another double, and that stayed the same. That hasn't changed at all. And then we've got Harrying Raven. This is an ability I don't use a lot. I think I might try and use it a bit more in this new edition, but that hasn't changed either. I was hoping for a buff for swooping attack, but that hasn't changed. That's the same. But there's quite a big change to this triple Grizzly trophy, and here you've got the leader rune mark and the CORVUS Cabal rune mark. So this has changed quite a bit, whereas before it was just simply until the end of the battle round, add 1 to the attack's characteristics of attack actions that have a range characteristic of 3 or less made by visible friendly fighters while they are within 6 inches of this fighter. Now it's changed to a condition where the fighter can only use the ability if an enemy fighter has been taken down by an attack action made by them this activation. That's a really big change, and with such few abilities across the whole warband, this is really restricting how often you're going to be able to use this. You have to take an enemy fighter down with the fighter with the leader rune mark and the CORVUS Cabal rune mark. But if you do get some benefits, because now it's until the end of the battle round, add 1 to the attack's characteristic of melee attack actions. So again, it's reduced to melee. It can't be with any weapon now, and it's visible friendly fighters while they are within 9 inches. So that range is extended. Now it's gone from 6 inches to 9 inches, but another restriction, it can only be melee weapons. This kind of plays into the narrative. I don't really like that they've done this, but it does play into the narrative of the leader making the attack, killing someone, and then the flock just going crazy and all piling in and dealing even more damage to the enemy. So it makes sense narratively, but a bit of a shame that it's got that condition at the beginning that's going to make it that much harder to pull it off. And the final ability is the Quad Death from Above. This one hasn't changed at all. So there we go, that's all the abilities. Now let's move on and take a look at the fighter cards one at a time. Before we do that though, I'd like to say a huge thank you to this month's sponsors who are making these daily videos possible. And I'll put their links in the comments section below, and if you can check those out, that's a great way to support the channel and help me to keep these videos coming. So here we've got the new fighter cards. So let's get started with those and have a look at the reaction that they can all use. This has got the CORVUS Cabal rune mark on the left, so it means any fighter with that rune mark can use this reaction, and it's called Raptor Strike. And here a fighter can make this reaction after an enemy fighter finishes a move action visible to this fighter within 5 inches horizontally and vertically lower than this fighter. This fighter makes a bonus move action and must finish closer to that enemy fighter than they were at the start of that move action. If this fighter ends that move within 1 inch of that enemy fighter, this fighter does not suffer impact damage, and that enemy fighter suffers impact damage instead. Now, I'm reading this is that they have to be visible to this fighter within 5 inches horizontally, and they have to be vertically lower than this fighter, but not necessarily by 5 inches. I may have got that wrong, so let me know what you think about that in the comments down below. Is it 5 inches horizontally and 5 inches vertically, or am I right? Is it just 5 inches horizontally and then the vertical distance doesn't matter? I don't want it to matter because I want to be swooping down from really high up, making that terrain as high as I can for some real cinematic moments, descend onto the enemy and cause them some impact damage. I think that'd be awesome. But after I've done that, there is going to be the potential of taking some damage before my activation, especially if I want to get within that 1 inch to cause that impact damage. But if that enemy finishes its final action as a move action, and then I do the reaction, then it's going to be well worth it. So I think this is going to be really fun to try out on the battlefield. Let's have a look at the first fighter now, and it's the Shadow Piercer. This is our leader, and you can see I've got the old card at the bottom and the new one at the top. So there is a few changes here. The points for the Shadow Piercer have gone down from 185 to 170, but everything else has stayed the same. All the stats are the same, the rune marks are the same, and the abilities we've already gone through. So yeah, not much changes there, except for the points, which I think is brilliant. I love that the Shadow Piercer is going to get access to this reaction, also to the double Raven Dart ability, so that's brilliant. With the 2 rune marks, you can also use the double Harrying Raven, the triple Grizzly Trophy leadership one, and also the quad Death from Above. So although there's not too many abilities, the Shadow Piercer is going to be able to use quite a lot of them, so it's going to be really interesting tactically to play her. Now on to my favourite model ever, the Shrike Talon. Now this has changed a huge amount. Look at this. It's gone up 35 points from 175 to 210 and absolutely nothing has changed. I love rolling those 5 attack dice for this, and it does some serious damage when you combine it with the abilities. But what an increase in points. This is really going to be a test now if you want to add 2 to your warband. I've never done that, but yeah, I want to because I think it would be cool to have 2 now. But with that points increase, that's going to put me off a bit because that's going to be potentially 70 points I could spend elsewhere, or 70 extra points if you compare it to the previous point value. The Shrike Talon is going to get use of that Raptor Strike, which is going to come in really handy. Also the double Raven Dart ability too, and that quad Death from Above. And then it gets its own ability because it's got the Agile rune mark, and this is the triple Swooping Attack. So not very many big changes here except for the points on that Shrike Talon. Everything, the stats-wise, has stayed the same and nothing really affected it in the abilities except for throwing those darts, which I think is going to be nice. But combining the reaction with this is going to be the way to go, I think. Getting it really close to the enemy, doing some damage on that drop is going to be nice. But then that is going to stop you using the Swooping Attack triple ability though, because you will have already made that descent. So yeah, lots to think about here, I think, with the Shrike Talon. Next we've got the Spire Stalker, and this has changed slightly. Here you can see the points have come down from 140 to 130, but their stats have remained exactly the same, and so had their rune marks. So no changes to them. I'll always take 2 of these in the warband. I think they're great. So point reduction is nice, and they're going to get all the abilities we've seen, but in addition, the double Swift Climb. They're going to get that because they've got the rune mark that matches the ability. The Cabalist is next, so let's have a look at the changes here, and points have remained the same, so have all the characteristics, so no difference whatsoever. Again, they're going to get the reaction and the abilities, so no special ones for them though, because they've got no special rune marks. Next we've got the Cabalist with Spear. These are such great models. I love all of them in this warband. But this has changed slightly. Was 75 points. Now it's gone up to 80 points. And that increase hasn't changed any of the stats either. They've all remained exactly the same. And they come with the basic reaction and abilities. Next is the Cabalist with Familiar. And we get to see a little change here in points. It's gone right up from 60 to 70 points. For 60 points, you kind of got what it was worth, 3 attack, strength 3, dealing 1 to 3 on a crit. But now going up 10 points, you are getting that extra attack. So it's going to be 4 attack, strength 3, dealing 1 to 3 points of damage now. So that's a little bit better for that points value going up in 10. You've also got one of the abilities it can use as well. So as well as those abilities and the reaction that they can all use, the Cabalist with Familiar is going to get the double harrying Raven. So putting together a warband with the models that were included before, I would put together 9 models, and they would be the Shadow Piercer, Strike Talon, 2 Spire Stalkers, 2 Cabalists, 2 Cabalists with Spear, and a Cabalist with Familiar, and that would come out at 980 points. With the increases and decreases, going with that same setup is now 1,000 points. So certainly is playable, is a 20-point difference. So for me, it's had no real effect. But I think if you like to play 2 Strike Talons in your warband, that's going to be a big increase now. That's going to bump it up by 70 points. I don't think you're really saving that many there to get any benefit from that, especially if you're including ones that are now like the Cabalist for Familiar, because they've gone up 10 points too. So for me, it's not affected, but yeah, if you like to play 2 Strike Talons, I think that could have a bit of an impact on how you put your warband together. There we go, that's the Corvus Cabal for Warcry 2.0, the updates and the changes to the warband, the fighter cards and the abilities. And tomorrow I'll be doing the Untamed Beasts, having a look at that. And so that'll be the next video up on the channel for Warcry as I do these deep dives to get everything up to date. I'm really looking forward to getting hold of the actual box set. It's not long to wait now, so can't wait for that. And if you haven't ordered yours yet, I'll put a link in the description below that will take you to Firestorm Games, where you can save up to 20% on all your hobby products. If you order from them before the 31st of August, you'll also save an additional 5% on the usual up to 20%, so some big savings to be made there. And you'll also support the channel as I get a small commission from every sale made through that link. I'd love to hear what you think about the changes to the Corvus Cabal in Warcry 2.0, so let me know down in the comments section below. It'd be great to hear what you think. But for now, thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did like it, please hit that like button. Makes a huge difference. Subscribe for more videos like this. And don't forget to hit the notification bell too, so you can join me next time on Tabletop Skirmish Games. I'd like to say a huge thank you to my Patreon supporters who make these daily videos possible, and if you're interested in joining the community, it'd be awesome to see you there, and I'll put a link for that in the description down below.